Tory Lanez just can't catch a break, fam. First, he got 10 years in prison for allegedly shooting Megan Thee Stallion. And now, things have gotten even worse. He was stabbed multiple times while in prison. Reports say he was stabbed 14 times. What's really got the hip-hop community talking are the rumors that Tory Lanez might have died while getting treated.
He was stabbed 14 times.
A lot is going on, so let's get into it. According to multiple confirmed reports, on Monday, May 12, 2025, around 7:20 a.m. local time, Tory Lanez was jumped and stabbed by another inmate at the California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi, about 75 miles north of Los Angeles. The Say It rapper, whose real name is Daystar Peterson, was allegedly attacked by an inmate named Santino Casio. Casio is serving a life sentence with the possibility of parole for serious charges, including second-degree murder. This wasn't just a small fight. Tory was stabbed 14 times, 7 in the back, 4 in the torso, 2 in the back of the head, and once on the left side of his face.
He was stabbed 14 times, 5 times in his back, 1 under his left cheekbone. In fact, his jaw was open. He was stabbed twice in the back of his head, and the rest in his torso, arms, and in his chest.
Most alarming, both his lungs collapsed from the assault, which had him on a breathing machine right away. That's the type of situation where it's touch and go, real talk.
It may seem sensational, but thankfully, like Dr. King, it was close to his heart but did not penetrate. He said, and I quote, "Dad, I thought it was my last."
Correctional officers acted quickly, giving Tory Lanez first aid and calling emergency services. He was rushed to a nearby hospital for immediate treatment. The attack happened in one of the prison housing units. While the reason for the stabbing isn't clear yet, both the prison's investigative services unit and the Kern County District Attorney's Office are looking into it. The attacker, 42-year-old Santino Casio, has a long history of violence in prison. He's been at Tehachapi since February 2004, after coming from Los Angeles County Jail. Locked up, he's picked up more charges, like a 6-year sentence. In 2008 for attacking another inmate with a weapon, and a 2-year sentence in 2018 for making or having a deadly weapon. Casio has now been placed in solitary confinement while they investigate the situation. We've been getting updates on Tory's condition, mainly through his verified Instagram and statements from his father, Sunstar Peterson. On May 13th, just one day after being stabbed 14 times, Tory's team shared that he was temporarily on a breathing machine. Doctors also started removing tubes that were draining fluid from his lungs. His father spoke more about his condition during a press conference in downtown LA on May 14th, 2025.
The reports in the hospital is that he is doing remarkably well. I was told yesterday, because they had already taken out the tubes that were draining the fluids from his lungs, they had already taken them out by the time my wife and I got there.
As of May 14th, the latest update is that Tory Lanez is recovering surprisingly well, even after everything he went through. He's now breathing on his own, talking normally, and staying in good spirits, even though he's still in a lot of pain. People close to him say he's just thankful to be alive after such a brutal attack and really appreciates all the love from fans and longtime supporters. It's important to remember that this attack happened while Tory is already serving. Tough sentence. As most of you probably know, he's doing 10 years after being convicted in December 2022 on 3 felony charges related to the July 2020 shooting involving Megan Thee Stallion. The charges were assault with a semi-automatic firearm, having concealed unregistered gun, and negligent discharge of a firearm. He officially started serving time in August 2023 after being moved from LA County Jail to a state prison. This stabbing has brought a lot of attention back to Tory's original case, with people still split on how they feel about the situation. To add more fuel to the fire, just 2 days after the stabbing, Tory's legal team held a press conference on May 14th, 2025, claiming they have new evidence related to the shooting case. We'll get into that update soon. But first, let's look at how people reacted to the news of the stabbing. Once the story broke, it spread quickly across major news outlets and social media. People had mixed reactions depending on how they felt about Tory and his conviction. Many fans and even some artists shared messages of concern and sent prayers. One person on X tweeted, "Celebrating Tory Lanez getting stabbed is degenerate behavior. There should never be a time where you're wishing death on someone on behalf of a celebrity." Journalist Megan Cuniff, who has been covering Tory's case closely, also said, "The amount of violence in our prisons is horrifying. It's not funny at all, and no, he didn't deserve it, just being real." But not everyone felt sympathy. Some people actually celebrated the news, pointing to his conviction and calling it karma. This kind of reaction shows how toxic social media can get, especially when it involves someone controversial. On top of that, the stabbing has sparked all kinds of conspiracy theories. Some people online are trying to connect the attack to the so-called new evidence. Others are even questioning if the stabbing really happened or if it was staged to help him get out of prison. One person tweeted, "I don't think Tory Lanez was stabbed. I think his team came up with a plan to get him released." These reactions show just how complicated public opinion can be when celebrities get involved in legal trouble. The divided views on Tory highlight bigger issues like justice, accountability, and how public opinion can influence high-profile criminal cases. Before we dig deeper into this new evidence, let's go back and break down why Tory is in prison in the first place, because that context is key to understanding everything going on now. It all started at a pool party at Kylie Jenner's house in the Hollywood Hills. According to court records, things took a dark turn after an argument in an SUV. Tory allegedly insulted Megan Thee Stallion's rap skills, which led her to get out of the car. As she walked away, he reportedly shouted, "Dance, B!" and fired shots at her feet. She was injured and needed surgery to remove bullet fragments. In October 2020, the LA County District Attorney's Office charged Tory with 3 felonies. After a 9-day trial in December 2022, a jury found him guilty on all charges. On August 8, 2023, Judge David Hereford sentenced Tory to 10 years in prison. He got credit for around 10 months of time already served, bringing his remaining sentence down to about 9 years and 2 months. The DA's office had asked for 13 years, while Tory's lawyers pushed for probation or a lighter sentence. They pointed to his charity work and tough childhood. He lost his mom when he was just 11 years old. First, Tory was held in LA County Jail, where he said he was locked in a small cell 24/7. While there, he claimed to be leading daily prayer groups and helping to keep the peace in the protective custody unit. On September 19, 2023, he was moved to North Kern State Prison in Delano, a medium security prison. After that, they transferred him to CCI Tehachapi, a facility that houses both medium and maximum security inmates, located about 100 miles north of LA. Throughout all of this, Tory has continued to say he's innocent and did not shoot Megan. His legal team filed a motion asking for a new trial, arguing there wasn't enough solid evidence and that some things, like Megan mentioning Tory's parole status, shouldn't have been allowed in court. The judge denied that request on May 9th, 2023. Then in September, another request for bail was rejected. Tory wanted to wait for his appeal at home in LA with his wife and son. The judge said no, citing his violent conviction, past violations of court orders, and the fact that he could be deported since he's a Canadian citizen. Even behind bars, Tory has stayed active in music and kept his public image alive. He's released different music collections like The Lost Tapes, recorded between 2015 and 2020, prison tapes made while locked up, and Twitch tapes from live Twitch sessions before his arrest. In 2025, he even dropped an album called Peterson. She described as the first real-time prison album ever recorded entirely behind bars using AI tech. It reached number 25 on the Billboard 200, proving that Tory still has a strong fan base. Despite everything, his supporters are still hoping for his release. His legal team hasn't stopped fighting either. Just 2 days after he was stabbed 14 times at California Correctional Institution in Tehachapi, Tory's lawyers held a press conference that shook things up even more. On May 14th, 2025, teamed up with a nonprofit legal group called Unite the People, UTP, and gathered in downtown LA to reveal what they say is major new evidence in his 2020 shooting case.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody.
The timing of this announcement, coming right after Tory nearly lost his life in the prison stabbing, has a lot of people raising eyebrows and wondering if the two events might be connected. At the press conference, Tory's legal team brought forward new claims from a man named Bradley James. They say he used to be the bodyguard for Kelsey Harris, Megan Thee Stallion's former best friend, who was there the night of the shooting in July 2020. According to James, things didn't go down the way the court believed. He says he overheard Kelsey telling someone in private that she, not Tory, was the one who fired the first shots at Megan. He claims Kelsey shot at Megan 3 times, and when Tory tried to stop her by grabbing her arm, the gun went off 2 more times by accident. James also says he's not under any NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and came forward now because his conscience wouldn't let him stay quiet any longer. He insists Tory never shot or attacked Megan like the court decided back in 2022. If what James is saying is true, it completely changes the story that led to Tory being convicted on 3 felony gun charges. Tory's legal team, joined by political commentator Gianno Caldwell and Walter Roberts from the nonprofit legal group UTP, argued that this new testimony shows Tory was wrongfully convicted. They even called out former LA County District Attorney George Gascon, accusing him of mishandling the case, leaving out forensic evidence, and pushing a political agenda during sentencing. At the press conference, Tory's lawyers went even further and asked California Governor Gavin Newsom to reduce Tory's sentence or give him a full pardon, especially now that he's recovering from such a brutal attack. They've also started a petition on Change.org, which was shared through Tory's official account, to get public support for his release. Megan Thee Stallion has always said that Tory Lanez was the one who shot her, and she hasn't changed her story since the beginning. Her lawyer responded to the new claims by saying the case was handled fairly in court and that this new testimony doesn't change the facts that were proven during the trial. The timing of these new claims, coming right after the prison stabbing, has sparked a lot of talk and conspiracy theories online. Some people think the attack was staged to make Tory look like a victim just before dropping the new evidence. Others believe the stabbing might have been a warning or an attempt to keep him quiet before the new information came out. One person on X wrote, "It's crazy how Tory Lanez gets stabbed right before new evidence drops saying Kelsey Harris shot Megan, not Tory. This case is finally about to turn around." Another user even suggested the stabbing could have been a hit ordered by someone connected to the case. At the press conference, Tory's team shared details about Bradley James's testimony. James says he was nearby when Kelsey Harris privately admitted to being the one who actually shot Megan. His version of events is very different from the story told in court. James claims Kelsey fired the first 3 shots, and Tory tried to stop her by grabbing her arm and knocking the gun downward. That's when 2 more shots went off by accident. If true, this would show Tory wasn't the attacker, but someone trying to stop the violence. James said he felt guilty staying quiet, especially with Tory behind bars, and decided to speak. Out now. He also said he isn't under any confidentiality agreements stopping him from sharing this information. It's still unclear, though, why he didn't speak up during the original trial. In addition to James's testimony, Tory's lawyers say there's more proof that the original conviction might have been wrong. They pointed to DNA analysis that reportedly shows there was only a 0.01% chance that Tory's DNA was found on the gun used in the shooting.
As the attorneys laid out here today, the prosecution failed to produce a single shred of forensic evidence tying Tory to the actual gun. His fingerprints weren't on it. His DNA was later found to be 100% nearly excluded from the gun, as shown in the worksheet that was provided to the defense late on the eve of the actual trial, after making a request for that very document. After trial, looking at this evidence, there is a 0.01% chance Tory's DNA was on the firearm.
Tory's legal team has also raised concerns about missing evidence in the original case. They claim the gun and bullets used in the shooting weren't properly handled or presented in court. They believe the trial was unfair from the start, saying Tory didn't get a real chance to share his side of the story due to media pressure, biased coverage, and aggressive actions from the prosecutors. Because of all this, plus the new testimony, they're asking California Governor Gavin Newsom to step in and grant Tory clemency. The new claims have exploded on social media, especially on X. Some users are focusing on the idea that Tory's DNA, fingerprints, or gunshot residue weren't found on the weapon. Others are pushing Bradley James's testimony as strong proof that Tory might be innocent. Even from behind bars, Tory has been active online. On May 14th, 2025, posted on X asking fans to sign a petition for his release using the hashtag #BasherFreeTory. The petition, started by the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety, has reportedly gotten a lot of attention, though exact numbers haven't been confirmed yet. But not everyone believes the new claims. Some users online are skeptical about the timing and question how trustworthy the testimony really is. Others continue to show strong support for Megan Thee Stallion, sharing posts that express anger toward abusers and frustration with those defending Tory. It shows just how divided people are over this case. Adding to the drama, Tory has still been dropping music while locked up. As mentioned before, he released an album in 2025 called Peterson, which he reportedly recorded entirely in prison using AI tech. His music has kept him in the spotlight and made sure people keep talking about his legal situation. Also worth noting that Tory's legal issues go beyond the shooting case. In December 2024, Megan filed for a restraining order, saying Tory was harassing her from prison through third parties, including a blogger who was spreading false claims. In January 2025, judge granted a 5-year restraining order, which lasts until January 9th, 2030, banning Tory from contacting or bothering Megan in any way. As all of this continues to play out, a lot of questions still remain. Will Tory's lawyers officially submit the new evidence to the courts? Will the courts take it seriously? Will the stabbing affect his legal situation at all? And most urgently, how is Tory recovering after the attack? We'll likely get more answers in the coming weeks and months. But for now, this situation remains one of the most talked about celebrity legal battles in recent memory. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture, how this case shows the impact of celebrity justice, prison violence, and how social media shapes public opinion. The stabbing of Tory Lanez at California Correctional Institution hasn't just raised concerns about his safety, it's also brought renewed attention to the broader issue of violence in U.S. prisons. As of May 14, 2025, Tory is reportedly recovering, with his condition described as fair. Updates from his verified Instagram account suggest he's staying positive, expressing deep gratitude to God for surviving the attack. Even though he's still in pain, the prison's response was swift. Staff provided immediate first aid, and Tory was quickly transported to an outside medical facility where he received more thorough care. The alleged attacker, identified as Santino Casio, has since been placed in restricted housing, known as the Hole, while investigations are underway. Both the prison's investigative services unit and the Kern County District Attorney's office are now looking into the incident. Casio reportedly has a history of violence behind bars, including prior assaults on other inmates, which has raised new concerns about how violent offenders are supervised and separated in the prison system. Beyond the violence itself, the legal developments that followed have made this case even more complex. As mentioned, Tory's legal team revealed alleged new evidence that suggests Kelsey Harris, not Tory, was the one who shot Megan Thee Stallion. This claim holds up in court could drastically change the entire case. According to the IDE conference held on May 14th, Bradley James, Kelsey Harris's former bodyguard, claims he overheard her privately admit to shooting Megan. He also says Tory tried to stop the situation by grabbing Kelsey's arm, which accidentally caused more shots to be fired. If true, that version of events directly contradicts what was presented in court during Tory's original trial. However, the decision to reveal this information at a press conference, rather than through proper legal channels, has raised eyebrows. Among legal experts, critics argue it's more of a public relations move than a legitimate legal strategy. Adding to the public push, Tory's team is also urging California Governor Gavin Newsom to either pardon Tory or reduce his sentence, especially now, given the recent attack. Some observers believe this is a deliberate attempt to stir sympathy and reshape the narrative around Tory, casting him as a victim of both physical violence and legal injustice. Public reaction to the stabbing has been mixed. Even some people who believe Tory is guilty have spoken out against celebrating prison violence, saying it's never right to cheer on someone's suffering. Others, however, are less sympathetic, pointing out that Tory's alleged past actions have consequences. One post summed up the tension like this: "You're telling us not to laugh at Tory Lanez getting stabbed, but y'all are the same ones who made jokes, memes, and attacked Megan when she got shot." This divide in reactions to both the stabbing and the supposed new evidence highlights just how polarized the public remains about this case. Public opinion around the Tory Lanez case remains sharply divided and deeply entrenched. Looking ahead, several key factors will shape how the situation unfolds. Most immediate is Tory's recovery from the stabbing. While recent updates indicate he's improving, reports suggest his injuries were severe, including collapsed lungs. This means he's facing a potentially long road to recovery, physically and mentally. His medical condition could also delay or complicate any legal proceedings or discussions about transferring him to another facility for safety reasons. On the legal front, biggest question is whether Tory's team will formally submit the claims they revealed at the press conference, especially the testimony from Bradley James. If they do, the courts will need to assess James's credibility and determine whether his account is strong enough to reconsider the original verdict. Until then, the new claims remain allegations presented outside of official legal channels. Meanwhile, the investigation into the stabbing itself is still ongoing. If Santino Casio, the alleged attacker, is formally charged, that legal case would run separately but in parallel with any developments in Tory's shooting case. Depending on the findings, the outcome of the stabbing investigation could also influence where Tory is held moving forward, especially if he's deemed at risk in his current facility at CCI Tehachapi. Another major aspect of this case is the ongoing impact on Megan Thee Stallion. The shooting and the intense media and public scrutiny that followed have clearly taken a toll. In past interviews, Megan has opened up about how the incident affected her both personally and professionally. Speaking with Elle magazine, she described Tory's conviction as a victory for women who have been shamed for speaking out about violence. But with new allegations now circulating and dominating the headlines, this traumatic chapter of her life is being reopened, potentially prolonging her emotional recovery. As for Tory, The stabbing adds another layer of trauma to an already harsh chapter. While much of the public attention has focused on legal implications and conspiracy theories, it's important to recognize the human side of what happened. Suffering 14 stab wounds and collapsed lungs is no minor event. It's a violent attack that will likely leave lasting physical and psychological scars. This case has also reignited conversations about how social media shapes public perception of high-profile legal matters. Forms like X, Instagram, and Reddit have become battlegrounds for competing narratives, some painting Tory as a victim of injustice, others reaffirming Meghan's account and the original verdict. This clash of perspectives only adds to the intensity surrounding an already controversial case. The instantaneous nature of social media platforms means that new developments, like the stabbing or the press conference announcing new evidence, quickly generate waves of reaction and speculation, often before the full facts are known. This story continues to unfold. Several key milestones lie ahead. Tory's recovery from the stabbing will be closely followed, with updates expected through official channels and his social media accounts. If his legal team formally files the new evidence they announced at the press conference, that would mark a major turning point in the case. The ongoing investigation into the stabbing, including any potential charges against Santino Casio, is another important development to watch. Any decisions regarding Tory's placement within the prison system, especially if safety concerns lead to a transfer, will also be significant. The long-term impact of these events remains uncertain, but they have already ensured that Tory's case stays at the center of public attention and debate. The intersection of celebrity, violence, legal battles, and social media discourse creates a complex narrative with no simple answers. For fans and followers of both Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, the coming weeks and months are likely to bring further updates, some clarifying parts of this multifaceted story, others adding new layers of complexity. In conclusion, the stabbing incident and the subsequent claims of new evidence represent major developments in a high-profile saga that has captured public interest since 2020. As Tory continues his recovery and his legal team pushes forward, the case remains very much in flux. If you enjoyed this video, click on the videos showing on your screen to keep watching.